what this couple did to have twice the retirement income. In this episode, I'm going to show you an example of how smart retirement planning specialists work. This is an actual example. I've changed the names, but you're going to be blown away with this strategy called a strategic rollout. So I'm Doug Andrew, and I've been helping people optimize assets and minimize taxes now for north of 48 and a half years. I've been a financial strategist, retirement planning specialist. And so in doing that, a lot of times people would come to me at retirement, because at retirement planning is something totally different than maybe what you did for retirement planning. And if your money is invested in tax-deferred IRAs or 401ks, in the market, you do need to do something totally different. And you can watch other episodes to understand that. So let's go through. I want to give a little bit of a preface based on traditional financial planning advice and what have you. And then why this strategy works for so many people, because this is part of several videos where I give actual examples of how we were able to get money out of IRAs and 401ks with the least tax impact as possible, okay? Now, because people at retirement oftentimes have most of their money in tax-deferred IRAs and 401ks in the market, the financial planning industry, they would like to keep that money under management, but see, Wall Street was never designed to create predictable income because the market's too volatile, okay? And so most of the broker-dealers, they don't want to be sued for you outliving your money. So they tell their advisors to only show a 4% payout. It's called the 4% rule. And I'll explain why. But see, if you take out more than 4% a year, they want you to sign a waiver if you run out of money. Now, 4%, that's pretty pathetic. Did you save, let's say, $1 million to have only $40,000 a year of income? But yet, that's what they're telling you to do, because if it's invested in the market, okay, Dalbar, who studies investor behavior, said, if people would just buy and hold, and when the market starts to go down, not panic and sell. Well, most retirees don't have a stomach to do that. When the market drops down 15 and then 20 and 25 and 30%, more and more people say, sell, I got to cut my losses. And then they wait till the market comes back, and then they buy high. So Dalbar says most retirees are only really earning an average of 3.49%, 3.5. So the 4% rule says if you show them 4%, it will slowly deplete if they're only averaging 3.5, but they won't run out of money before most people's LE, life expectancy. That's called the 4% rule. It's pretty pathetic, okay? So let me show you what this episode is all about. The 4% rule means that if somebody needed $3,000 a month to buy gas and groceries, prescriptions, and golf green fees, if they really tighten their belt, that's $36,000 a year. So based on the 4% rule, how much would their nest egg have to be worth to net $36,000 after tax? Well, in a 28% tax bracket in this example, they'd have to pull out $50,000 out of a IRA or 401k, pay tax of 28% between federal and state tax to net $36,000, okay, on that account. Well, how much money do you have to have accumulated that 4% generates $50,000? In other words, $50,000 is 4% of how much money? $1,250,000 nest egg. Again, I don't know if you're like me, but if I accumulate $1,250,000, I am not expecting to get a measly $3,000 a month to live on. Does that make sense? This has always been unacceptable to me. And so the purpose of this video episode is to show you, golly, if you've got $1,250,000, you ought to be able to pull out $100,000 a year, twice as much. Would you like double the retirement income? But there's a big difference. That one's tax-free. This is only really worth $36,000 after tax. Okay, but we have thousands of people who have been experiencing 10% payouts. A 10% payout would be $125,000 a year, over 10 grand a month, and it's totally tax-free. That's how significant this is. It's not a little bit better, it's double, triple, okay? So with that in mind, in the book I want to gift you at the end of this episode, so stay with me, I'll show you how you can claim your free copy. And in a lot of our educational episodes, I teach at our Retire by Design events that most Americans, as they approach retirement, have up to 4 different general places where they may experience income. The biggest one is this purple bucket, yet to be taxed IRAs or 401ks invested in the market, and they're way too top heavy in that one. Some people have real estate that's generating rental income. That's okay, but a lot of people get tired of being landlords and they want to sell, but they don't want to pay the capital gain. Now they're going to probably have to do that. Some people, they are relying on their school teacher pension or Social Security, some guaranteed form of income. Here's the most underutilized, but my favorite bucket. It's the tax-free bucket. And the favorite vehicle by far is what I call the LASERFund, as you'll learn. It knocks the socks off of Roths or municipal bonds, okay? So a LASERFund has 6 major benefits. Roths only have 2. You'll have 3 times the benefits with a LASERFund than you will with a Roth, okay? So the strategy that I teach at these events is once you figure out you're trapped and your current tax bracket is likely the lowest bracket you'll ever be in, and you need to eliminate the dangers of not only taxes but inflation and market volatility. So you can't have your money here in the market with that stupid 4% rule. You want to roll it out. You want to get money out of those IRAs or 401ks. Even if you don't need it to live on, you want to get the taxes over and done with sooner than later, okay? I would recommend at retirement no more than 30% be left over here. Would recommend if you own real estate, no more than 30% of your retirement income should be dependent upon, tenants being in those rental units. 0 to 80% of your income, depending upon your risk tolerance and needs, could come from a pension or Social Security or whatever. But this is where I recommend 40 to 60% of your income be generated from. Not even show up on the front page of your 1040 tax return. Now, the IRS will know you're receiving it. They know everything. But it will be totally tax-free, and that's what the LASERFund does. Now, this is called a strategic rollout. It's actually a 3-part strategy. And in every example I give in this series, it's a story based upon this strategy where, number 1, you want to strategically reposition your retirement funds, IRAs, 401ks, 403bs, whatever, and get taxes over and done with. At least 5 years before you retire is the optimal time period to do it. And you're getting taxes over and done with sooner than later, okay? Now, that's the first step. The second step is to reposition the after-tax money into that green bucket, something that's going to be tax-free from now on. And the best choice, I think, is the LASERFund because when you die, it actually increases, it blossoms, and that gives you enough money to be reimbursed many-fold for the taxes you paid during step 1. You'll learn that in the book. The third is to offset some or all of the tax liability incurred during that rollout process, if you can, by maybe resurrecting new deductions that you had been killing, or I have a strategy where you can earn tax-free interest for your life on what you paid in tax. That blows people away. But let me show you this example. And again, I started out by saying what this couple did allowed them to have twice the income, but it was a savvy financial strategist that helped them. Now, this is actually an example of clients of mine, but I changed the names to the Jones and the Smiths, okay. Now, I'm not trying to just thump myself on the chest. I've taught many advisors how to do this. When they first learned, their eyes just, their jaw dropped. Here we go. So the objective, the purpose was to help them optimize their assets in retirement, give them some tax breaks wherever we could, and let's increase the net spendable retirement income. Okay, that was the primary objectives when I met And these couples are in the same boat. Okay, so let's say they're best friends. In fact, they live next door to each other, and they decide to retire and sell their homes and buy retirement condos in their city and another city. So in the state that this took place in, that's Utah, they bought a 2-bedroom retirement home, a community in a condo in Salt Lake City because they like to ski sometimes in the wintertime and so forth, but also they like to golf during the winter. So they wanted their other 2-bedroom retirement condo in St. George, Utah, which is a lower elevation. And so all the snowbirds go down there. So this is what they did, okay? Now, they both had $250,000 accumulated in a 401k account or an IRA, 403b, it doesn't matter. Now, the Jones, they listened to their accountant, their tax attorney, and to their financial planner, and they said, oh, just hang in there. You're earning 7.2%, so let's give them the benefit of the doubt. And continue to defer. You don't want to pay tax. My heavens, who's telling you to get that money out of there? Are they crazy? You don't need the money. Why pay, keep deferring? So they defer, and at $250,000 earning 7.2%, it doubles. Rule of 72, 7.2 divided into 72, your money doubles in 10 years, okay? So $250,000 now is worth $500,000, and they're going, look, we have $500,000 saved now. It doubled. Well, $500,000 earning 7.2% will allow the Jones now to take out $36,000 a year without depleting principal. Let's just use that so it's an apples to apples comparison. They pull out $36,000 between federal and state income tax. They're paying 33%. They pay $12,000 in tax, and they net $24,000. Now, one of the reasons why they were in a 33% bracket is because they killed all their tax deductions, okay, by paying off their house. And I told you, wait a minute, they sold their houses. Yeah. So the Jones and the Smiths each have homes that at the time were worth $625,000. So they put them up for sale, and they were both free and clear. The Jones didn't come to my educational event, and so they got their $625,000, and they bought the 2 retirement homes, and they decided to pay cash. So they were able to buy 2 condos for that $625,000 of cash because they were able to, buy a like property and so forth. So they paid cash for the new 2 condos. So far, so good. And they're feeling pretty good about life. Well, the Smiths came to one of my educational events, and I couldn't help it. I said, okay, we need to do a strategic rollout. Let's get this $250,000 out over the next 5 or 10 years. Let's take the full 10 years. So I looked at it and I said, I want to show you pulling out the $250,000 over a 10-year period while you're continuing to earn 7.2%. They could have pulled out like $36,000 a year. But folks, if they do that, they'll pay tax, but it would be better to get the taxes over and done with. But what's going to happen? They're going to have net after tax, and the net after tax isn't going to be as much as this $500,000 that the Jones kept deferring. But the taxes are over and done with. But I looked at their situation and I said, let me, as a tax strategist, I put on that hat, give you some advice of what I would do if I were you. Instead of paying cash for those 2 condos, I would pay the minimum amount down, 20%. So only use $125,000 of that $625,000 from selling your house, and pay 20% down, and finance. Take out a mortgage on both of those retirement condos so that you can resurrect deductions that you killed when you paid off your house. You probably didn't know you were doing that, but don't you wish you had those same interest deductions? Yeah, but we don't wish we were paying that interest. I said, it could be your friend. Here's why. So what's going to happen is you take that $500,000 of equity from your house, the sale of your house, and you don't put it into the new condos. You keep that out and you put it into a LASERFund, okay? Now, we'll just keep it simple here. They put $500,000 into a laser fund, and they have money to be able to meet the payments and so forth, but they don't need that money. They could actually make the payments on those 2 condo mortgages easily with tax-free money coming out of that right there. Now, folks, and they would have money left over. Instead, I advise them, when you withdraw $36,000 a year out of this over 10 years, because it's earning 7.2%, so they're actually going to get $360,000 over a 10-year period out of their IRAs or 401ks without paying tax. I'll show you how. So they pull out $36,000 a year, and that shows up on the front page of their 1040 tax return. Oh, so I have to pay tax on that. Well, you have to subject it to tax. You don't have to pay tax. Why? Because this equity, okay, what I want you to do is to, if you looked at the mortgages on $500,000, the mortgages on $500,000, and let's say the mortgage was 7.2%, interest only, okay, they have to pay $36,000 in interest. Now the Jones, when they took out mortgages on their 2 retirement condos, they thought they were crazy. They sit around and go, look, we don't have any mortgage payments. You have a $36,000 a year, $3,000 a month mortgage payments between the 2 places. That is absolutely stupid. No, not at the end of the day. They withdrew the $36,000 out of here, and what did they do with it? They paid it to the mortgage company. That was 100% deductible. That's all interest. So you have $36,000 of income a year coming out of the IRAs. You have $36,000 that you get to offset it with mortgage interest deductions. And you essentially don't have to pay tax on this $36,000 and net $24,000 because you got to offset the $36,000 of income with $36,000 of mortgage interest deductions. It's a wash. You pay zero. This couple, over 10 years, withdrew $36,000 a year out of their IRAs tax-free because they offset it by paying interest on the mortgages on their 2 condos. They ended up paying zero tax. In the meantime, the $500,000 from the sale of their home that went into the IUL policy has doubled to $1 million. Oh, but they still have those mortgages. Well, they could take half of that and pay off the mortgages. That's not smart. They learned how money works. That $1 million in the IUL policy generating just 7.2% is $72,000. That's tax-free. Now, they still have mortgage payments. Why? Because they borrowed at 7.2% tax deductible. That's a net cost of 4.8. They're earning 7.2% compounding tax-free. There's an arbitrage or a spread there. The net after-tax mortgage payment, because it's still a deduction, is $24,000. When they pay $36,000 in interest on their mortgages in a 33% bracket, they're saving $12,000 in tax. They didn't want to kill that tax deduction because they were earning more than the cost of the mortgage. The cost of the mortgage was 24 subtracted from 72, even though they have mortgage payments. They're netting 48,000. Do you notice something? They have 48,000. They ended up paying no tax, and that gave them double the net spendable income. The Jones are sitting there with 24,000 of income, and they're going, how come the Smiths seem to have twice as much money as we do? We thought we were the smart ones, paying cash for our 2 retirement condos and deferring and taking these payment. What? How did they end up with twice as much money? The Smiths took time to learn. So if you'd like to learn, I would strongly recommend that you claim your free copy of this book, okay? It's actually 2 books in one. This is the left brain side. This is the right brain side with all the stories. You simply go to LASERFund, LASERfund.com, and or click on the link below. You contribute a nominal amount towards the shipping and handling. I'll cover the rest of that cost, and I'll pay for the book. I'll fire out a copy to you. This is the 8th edition, fresh off the press, right up to date with everything that has been changed with tax laws. Folks, you need to study this, whether you're left brain and you learn by charts and graphs or numbers and percentages, or whether you like to learn by stories. There's 62 of them in here, just like this one. But I don't want you left behind and you realize you could have had twice as much income by simply meeting with a savvy advisor that understands as a tax strategist how to be able to get your money out with the least amount of tax and maybe even offset some or all of the tax with strategies that resurrect deductions like I did for these people that gave them twice the income. This is about you and your brighter future. Check out some of our online webinars, which we teach on a regular basis, but you can also schedule the time to talk to an IUL specialist to see how these strategies may help you.